And welcome back. This is your man Warrior, and I have some footage here from PR10 from Team Instinct. He volunteered some of his footage. Now, the number one question we get is, how do you topple this AAT tank raid? And right now, we're still trying to figure it out. We've pretty much just allowed for our characters to go in, our teams to go in and blitz it and try and get their 2%. They're using a ton of different teams, and so honestly, and this is the God-honest truth, we don't know exactly which teams are going to work most efficient. Now, you can see how he built his team here for the first section. He's using a Jedi team, and Jedi get a bonus in this. Now, the number one strategy is truly, you have got to do, everybody on your team has to participate. It is a team effort. This is not the Rancor where a couple of people can get 6 to 8 million each, or 3 to 5 million each, and be done with it. You just cannot do that. And so you can see that it takes a team. It's like, it takes a village to raise a child kind of thing. You're going to have the entire team's participation to make it through this. So that's the first and foremost thing that Team Instinct would tell you guys, is you've got to have the whole entire team participating. Again, I've told you this, if you're in a casual team, you don't have 50 people willing to participate, then you might want to consider switching to a guild that has 50 active participants. Because 2%, and I've had a lot of people tell me, give me pushback, that's not possible, that's too much, this raid's too hard. I will tell you this raid is hard, and they might nerf it in the future, but right now, 2% in phase 1 is only 100,000 damage. Now, if you have a Rey, she can do 30,000 in a hit, and she can go off 3 or 4 times before she's killed. So you're talking about easily being able to get it. If you've got first order storm pilot, the first order, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. The TIE pilot, the TIE pilot, he's going to do 10 to 20K on his hits. So getting the damage is not that hard, but everybody on your team is going to have to do that 100,000 damage in that P1. And then when you get your 100,000, you can exit out. You can just auto battle it. You can let your guys die, or you can try and go for 3, 4, or 5%. The truth is, a few of you are going to get 1% or a 0.5%, and some of you are going to get 3 or 4%, and it will balance out. And as long as the entire team's participating, you're going to get through this. Now, as you can see in this, it's difficult. And he's hard to hit, but he's already gone in excess of the 2% that he needed to do. And he's using a counter team, which is not a bad idea, because obviously every time somebody hits you, you counter, you're going to get more damage. He's using Ayla. Ayla is going to be able to stun on a critical. Now, it doesn't look so good here. It looks like he's going to lose his team, but it wasn't a bad team. It got him the 2% that he needed. So there you go. He got 83,000, and that was enough to be 2%. And you can see everybody else on the leaderboards, their contribution was about between 2 to 4%. So we have a strong team, so we can do the P1 without everybody participating. But you take away the fact that we have a strong roster, you only need, a lot of people say, how many people are you going to need on your roster? So let me tell you what you'll need on your roster. You're going to need, as a free-to-play player, you're going to need at least 4 teams minimum, and there's 5 on each team. So you're going to need 20 7-star characters, and those 20 characters are going to have synergy with 5 others. So you're going to have 4 synergistic teams, like a Jedi team, a Jawa team, a droids team, a rebels team. You're going to have at least 4, 1 for each area. And I know that some of the teams are going to do more damage. The droids or the rebels are going to do more damage. You can see this. This is the part 2 now of the raid, and he brought in rebels. And so that makes sense. He's going to get a lot of AoE damage, and there's 3 cannons. And so he's taking out the cannon on top. His goal, obviously, is to do what's called toppling the tank. Now, toppling the tank is very similar to having the Rancor have the gate drop on top of the Rancor. So when the gate drops on the Rancor, he's immobilized for a period of time. This tank, the moment these 3 cannons are destroyed, it will drop, and you'll be able to take advantage of it. So what he's trying to do here is he's trying to get rid of these cannons to topple it. And it looks difficult. Now the now the tank has a number of things. It has a main cannon up top which can shoot and do a one-shot kill. It has 3 of the turrets up top that can do pretty significant damage to you. You can see how much damage it does. It's quite effective, you know, getting 3 to 10,000 per shot. And then it also has, if you notice, the 3 little holes on the hull of the ship on the front, on the left side, and 3 holes on the hull on the right side. Those actually shoot out fire, and it'll do it like twice in a row. So pretty crazy. And what he's trying to do at this point is conserve the majority of his damage that he can do. So he's doing basics because he wants to topple it. Here it goes. It's toppling. Boom. It's down. So it's like the Rancor. It's down. Now he's going to do his triple shot. Try and get all that damage he's been needing to do. You see, he had 100%, didn't do his 2%. So now he's got to get his 2% in. But now it's toppled, and so while it's toppled, he's going to town on it. And he got his about 1% almost. And it's back up. Now my thought, or at least when I ran through this, the way I got a lot of, there it goes, there's those cannons on the bottom, or the fire shots on the bottom. My thought is on this, and you know, strategy is going to change, of course, but my thought would be focus on the tank, and while you're trying to take the tank out, your AoEs on all your characters are going to subsequently hit those cannons. So you're going to do a ton of damage to the hull and subsequently do damage to the other 3 turrets. By the end of it, before your characters all die, if you have decently leveled characters, they will eventually near the end topple it. And as the ending of this round goes, you'll be able to do a bunch of mass damage to the tank. And then when he comes back up, you're probably going to be done for. But if you focus on the main tank and just do as much damage as you can, and the AoEs subsequently hit those other targets, you should be able to get a decent amount of damage. This section, P2, part 2 of this raid, is the easiest raid to get the most amount of damage. You should be able to get 2%, which is about 3 to 600,000. So this run for PR10 wasn't the best. He got about 250,000, but that's not bad for. And I really appreciate PR10 showing us some of his footage of the first phase and the second phase. I do want to show you, this is my tip of the day. We're going to bring more raid footage out, obviously, as we start to compile more data on what teams work the best. This is going to take some time to theorycraft, testing out. Now, this is how we're doing it. A lot of people are like, how is Team Instinct going to figure this out? What we're doing is we have our phones on airplane mode, and we go into the tank takedown. So you enter, and it shows you where everybody has. By the way, we only have 50 people on our team. People are silly. There's only 43 participants currently. We're 7 down right now on participants for traveling and stuff like that. But you can see if you click on battle, it'll go into the P2. And let's say you want to try a team out. Now that I'm in airplane mode, even if I was to die, it's not going to post onto the server. But I'm not going to let it get too far. But you can go ahead and pick your team that you want to use, and you know, honestly, it really doesn't matter. We'll just pick a team. Now again, like I said, oh, we're gonna have to come out of airplane mode for a second to get into it. So there's the tank. Now we'll go ahead and enter into airplane mode. So now anything that I do is not going to topple it. Now there's 2%. You can see 2%. And I'm in airplane mode. So now I can play and try and see how this team works to see if I get my 2%. Now this isn't a, I'm just going to throw everything at it and see what happens kind of thing. This is strategy. You've got to figure out what team is going to work best for you. And you could try this in an unlimited amount of times because you're not going to lose your characters. So let's do some damage, and let's see how we do. We'll go ahead and taunt. Now, I do believe that taunt is wasted because these shots from the tanks, turrets, from what I saw last time, actually take your taunt away in a basic. But let's do an AoE, damage everything. Another AoE. Again, we're doing damage to the hull and damage to those towers. That's good. The taunt so far has worked. We'll let him take the fall for the team. Oh, see that? Took away his taunt. It has a percentage chance of taking away a taunt, which is too bad for sure. All right, we're just going to keep plugging along and trying this team out. It seems like it's doing okay. You can tell that I am doing damage to all of them. There goes the front cannons, those fire blast shots. Boy, Stormtrooper Han is not doing too well. Of course, he's not my highest damage character, so... And on its basic, it's going to potentially expose your targets, or your characters, which is definitely rough. So remember, we were trying to get 2%. We were just over 2% when we started, and 2%'s in the ballpark of about 300k. Now that did 100,000 damage. You're not going to survive that, whoever gets targeted. But I've already done over 1%. So I've done about 150,000. So this is a great way to practice, to see what you're doing and how you're supposed to do it. And I'm not focused on those turrets. They are going to go down eventually. You can see that they are damaging my team, which is terrible, but I'm able to get my 2% by focusing on the hull, and subsequently I'm damaging the... ouch. Ooh, twice in a row. That's pretty rough. And I am almost at my 2% now. So we're really, really close to 2%. So if I say, you know what, I'm just not sure that this works out. Now, since it's in airplane mode, it's not going to save it to the server. And all I have to do is force stop this app to prevent. Do you see that? Connection error. There's an error with your connection. It just tried to upload my information, and I failed at getting my 2%, so that's okay. Now, if it was successful, I could turn my airplane mode off, click on try again, and it will try to resend that information to the server. I'm not going to do that. I'm actually here in just a second going to force this app to close, and it's not going to save anything that I just did. This is how you can practice and get better. Everyone can theorycraft. You guys do not need Team Instinct to theorycraft for you, or Team Skunk to theorycraft for you. We will, because that's what we do, and we will share that info as soon as we have some concrete information about what teams work the best. But this is going to take some time. We're talking weeks or a month of over and over, doing these raids to figure it out. So this, I'm trying to give you guys tools, and hopefully you guys can have your teams do this. Open up the tank raid, start with the first one. You don't have to go heroic, and practice in the first one. Have everyone go to airplane mode and have them pick the team they think will work the best. Let's say Jawas or Jedi or Rebels, but I would suggest Rebels in part 2 like I just did. And have them try and get 2%. And if they can get 2% while they're in airplane mode, then you know safely that your team can successfully complete this. And this way you guys can get practice. Now you can start to try different synergies and start to try different combinations, and you'll be able to see, oh, I need so-and-so, or I need this mechanic in this one. For example, the first part 1, and I don't know if I've seen anyone use this, but I did, and it helped me get my 2%. B2. I have a B2, and in the first round, you know, Grievous, you got to smash Grievous, and it's really, really hard to get a hold of Grievous because there's constantly the guys to the left and right, his tanks, that taunt. And then you're constantly having to hit them so you get no damage. Well, B2 eliminates their taunt, but it also puts that immunity on top of their head, the red over their head, that prevents them from taunting. So B2 allowed me to focus on General Grievous solely and not worry about the rest. So B2, for me, I see as a critical component in the part 1 of this raid. There's going to be characters that you see. For example, in part 3, there's a ton of droids, and they do a lot of damage. Having 5s in there, I noticed that 5s would shoot back. You know, he retaliated almost 100% of the time, and he speeds them down. And speed is critical in this particular raid. So anyway, there's just certain characters that are going to come to light when you're using them that work better than others. You're going to theory craft on your own to figure this out. And then, of course, when and if we actually get our stuff together and figure out how we're doing it. I know a lot of people think we've got this all figured out. The truth is, they're like 2% P1, go, figure it out. We try our best. If we see we're not, you know, we're going south and we're not getting our 2%, we get out and we try again. And we do that until we get our 2%. We put in our 2%, everybody else does the same. Boom, we're done. We move to the next section. You only need 4 teams, but the third and the fourth part are going to be a little harder. So I would save your teams, your best teams, till the end, till the third and the fourth, because it is much harder to get your 2% in P3 and P4. As always, if you like the videos, and I hope some of this suggestions on this tank raid help you, please like, subscribe. You could also share this with your guildmates so they get some of the tips as well. As always, keep your gaming on. Warrior, out.